So this new strategy I'm going to teach in this video is going to absolutely cook melee pressure armies. It's brutal. I developed it specifically with a client as we were getting them ready for a tournament. And then I thought to myself, oh crap, that was actually a pretty good idea. So I've been using it, and guys, it works like gangbusters. So this is actually going to be a pretty quick video. I'm going to tell you what the strategy is. I'm going to tell you how to set it up, and then I'm going to show you on TTS how to set it up so that you can use it in all of your games. This works especially well against your melee pressure armies. It's generally a pretty bad idea if you're going into like a shooting army though. So I wouldn't try it against a shooting army. Be clear. Let's be very clear what it's for. It is for specifically playing against melee pressure armies. So melee pressure armies, they are providing massive problems for a lot of opponents. I cannot tell you how many people are booking coaching calls with me to learn how to play against melee pressure armies. Probably because I'm a melee pressure specialist. So I'm really happy that people learn, but it can be really, really tricky. What these armies do is they tend to just set up for one extremely overwhelming turn that players just can't recover from. So like if I'm playing my orcs, or if I'm playing my blood angels, or my world eaters, or whatever, basically what I like to do is I might have one skirmish with a 100-point unit, and then in my turn 2 or turn 3, I'm going to charge my entire army into your entire army, and I'm going to kill at least 1,000 points of your army, and then you're going to be left with 1,800 points to kill my entire 2,000 points. And I'm just going to be like, cool, can you deal enough damage with your limited army? And the answer is almost always going to be no. So that's basically how your melee pressure armies play. These are going to be things like your orcs, your world eaters, your blood angels, probably the new Emperor's Children, the Cults of Bile, your Legion of Excess. All these armies are melee pressure armies, and it's very, very scary to people. So here's a new strategy that I've been developing. It's called the Flotilla, and it works super well for any transport army. And it can work well if you're a melee army that's trying to counter a melee pressure army. It can work well if you're a shooting army that's trying to counter a melee pressure army. So let's just learn how to set up the flotilla, and then I'm going to go to the TTS screen. I'm going to show you how to actually put it on the table and how it works in practice. So what do you need? You're going to need strong, hard-hitting units. Your strong, hard-hitting units can be melee. They can be shooting. It really does not matter. You're going to need either cheap or durable transports. And then you're going to need either cheap or a fearsome heroic intervention threat. And then lastly, you're going to need compliant maps. Layouts that will actually allow for this. So GW layouts work really, really well for this strategy. Some WTC works pretty well. Honestly, I'm just not familiar enough with UKTC to tell you if it works super well in UKTC. But just the likelihood is that if you're playing UKTC, you're going to have a lot of really big shooting matchups, which just means that this strategy is going to be probably less usable on the UKTC. So not useless, but going to be less usable. So I think you're primarily going to see the strategy work more on your Games Workshop layouts and perhaps your WTC layouts. Just as a prediction, I need more information. I basically only have information about how it works for my clients and how it works for me. I don't have information for like thousands of games, but I'm really excited to hear y'all's feedback on how it goes in your games. And just remember, there's going to be lots of other strategies on how to deal with melee pressure armies. This is just one, and it's just been working really, really well. So I just figured I'd share it with all of you guys, because why the heck not? I love you, and I want everyone to be better at 40k. So I'm just going to switch to my TTS view right now. Boom, and here we are. All right, so I got the TTS view here. Basically, what we're looking at is we are looking at the flotilla strategy. So what I do is I take a bunch of transports, and I put them basically nose to nose, nose to nose, nose to nose, and I have them against terrain. So I could even do it like perhaps here, or maybe even like this. Something like, yeah, actually this will probably work better. So what you do is you use terrain to block where the enemy can land, and then you use your other transports to block where the enemy can land. And then what you do is on either side of the flotilla, you're going to have a unit prepared to do a heroic intervention. So I've got boys over here, and I've got Gretchen over here, prepared for heroic interventions, all right? So basically, we've got a Legion of Excess army here, and the question is, how the heck does the Legion of Excess army deal with this strategy? And the answer is basically they have no way to deal with this strategy, because inside each one of these trucks, I'm going to have like Tank Bustas and Breaka Boys and Beast Snaggas and just all sorts of horrible things that your opponent does not want any smoke from. So let's say it's the Legion of Excess's turn, and they're getting ready to move. So this Keeper Secrets is just going to move the wall. It's going to stand right here. You're going to have these Daemonettes, and they're going to, I don't know, they could just get to move like 9, so we'll just put them like, say, 9 there. Let's just say they move that far, just for ease of conversation. We have the Fiends that had to stay kind of far back, just simply because they don't want to get shot by a bunch of rocket launches early on. So they're going to move all the way up. Yeah, I know, and just I know it doesn't move 13 inches. I'm just showing you the strategy. You'll be okay. All right, this Keeper Secret's gonna go. It's 14 inches up, and then lastly, we're gonna have this unit of fiends, and they're just gonna move their 12 inches up. So the problem that you're gonna run into here is your opponent's gonna have to decide where the heck they want to go and where the heck they're gonna pile in on. So right now, Keeper Secrets can charge this truck, but he's never going to be able to get around these Gretchen, right? It's just not happening. Daemonettes, they can charge this truck, but they're never going to be able to surround the truck. It's just not going to happen. So they're never going to be able to trap the truck. And since I have the Gretchen here, I can always, heroic intervene. But in all reality, there's no reason the Keeper will probably just end up charging the Gretchen as well. But if I am really concerned about the Keeper Secrets, say them killing the truck and then piling with the Keeper of Secrets into whatever gets out of the truck, well, I can heroic with a Gretchen. And now the Keeper Secrets will not be able to pile in. So even if he does kill the truck with the Daemonettes, the Keeper Secrets will definitely not be able to pile in and kill the guys who get out of the truck. Then right here, if you look at this, the Fiends are going to have to charge. They're going to have to base the truck that they charge, and then they can maybe use the barricade rule to get an extra engagement here. But just because of the way that it is, even with a 2-inch extra engagement, it's going to be kind of hard to get too many of them to be able to fight this truck in the center. So maybe 1 or 2 guys can kill the truck, can get the truck, which is possible they can kill the truck, but kind of seems unlikely. So then this squad charges in, and they're going to have to do things like this. And hopefully they can leave a little bit of space for the Keeper. So let's say he charges the Keeper first, just so that they can get the Keeper all the way in. So right now, the boys don't even really need a heroic, but they could heroic on this side to stop this Keeper from doing its piling shenanigans. So now you've got 1 Keeper, a 6-man unit of Fiends, a 6-man unit of Fiends, Daemonettes, and a Keeper. And all they're going to do this turn is they're going to kill transports. It's just like, I really don't care when you kill the transports. This thing will 100% of course die. But they only have 2 Fiends going into it, right? Or maybe they can get like 3 Fiends going into it because it's like this. So with 3 Fiends, they probably would kill a truck with 3 Fiends, which would allow the Keeper of Secrets to pile in, which means that maybe over here I actually would do the heroic with the boys. So let's just say the boys get in so that the Keeper of Secrets won't be able to pile in and kill the guys. And that would mean on the other side we didn't heroic with the Gretchen, which is really no freaking problem. I actually don't care about that at all, because the Gretchen are still going to be positioned that when my guys get out of the truck, this Keeper's going to have to pile into the Gretchen anyway, right? So, boom, 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 boom. So right here, this truck's going to die, but this Keeper won't be able to really get very far because he's going to have to end his pile-in closer to the closest enemy model. And let's just say that this is the closest enemy model right here. So the Keeper won't be able to get further away than 0.5 inches from that model, which means that he can't go up here because that would take him further away from the closest enemy model, which means that he's basically going to go nowhere. He's not going to be able to tag the units that get out. Then these 3 Fiends, which kill this truck, and that means this truck just doesn't die. So realistically, he probably has to kill this truck with his Keeper. These 3 Fiends have to kill this truck. The guys get out no problem. Then you've got 2 Fiends that can go, 2 or 3 Fiends that can go into this truck. I think it would have to be 3 Fiends because that would probably be part of this squad. They could probably kill this truck, no problem. But then you have these guys. They are never going to be able to reach the guys who get out on this side. Then you got 3 Fiends that maybe kill this truck, but then everyone's going to get out on the other side, be perfectly safe. If the Daemonettes kill this truck, no problem. The Keeper of Secrets will then have to pile in, and he's going to have to pile in towards the closest enemy model, which in this case would be this Gretchen, which means he has to touch this Gretchen. Even if he comes on this side of him after the truck dies, now all the guys who got out over here are going to be perfectly safe from the Keeper of Secrets. Perhaps 1 unit gets tagged by the Keeper of Secrets, but if that's the case, no big deal. Because now what happens is all the Orc boys, and I'll just kind of put them on the field just to kind of show you exactly how much is coming out of here, are alive and well. Alright, so now we're going to have a whole squad of tank busters right there. And we're going to have an entire squad of tank busters right about here. And we'll have an entire squad of tank busters right about here. Boop, 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 boop. And we would just basically measure where this guy's going to be able to pile into. So we'll just put him, I don't know, something like this. There we go. And then we can have our breaker boys that are going to get out. Oh man, I still haven't done my video teaching you how this army works. Oh gosh, when I get to that, it's gonna be glorious. I'm so excited to do it. We can have these nerds just hanging out over here. Do 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 do. And if you can't quite fit it, you just go for a 6-inch disembark. No big deal. And we can always, like, I don't know, position this a little bit more intelligently, but it really doesn't matter. These guys get out roughly like this. And if they do it in a certain order, whatever, you take the 6-inch disembark. Put a tank buster squad right here. We'll put a unit of breaker boys down. Oh geez, where did I put all my models? Here they are. Put another squad down. Put another squad down. I'm being a little inaccurate with the movement here, guys, just because I'm demonstrating the strategy. So don't get persnickety with me. It's gonna be a-okay. This unit of breaker boys gets out roughly right here with the tank busters. Done. Then we'll have a unit of beast snagger boys that are gonna get out from another truck. And say these guys all get out over here. A little bit of a line. Something like this. Blah, 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 blah. And you'll have 2 more. One's going to go in this little between. Let's say we just space this, not like a psycho idiot. Let those fiends pile on in, get hit by a bunch of beast snaggers, no problem with me. And then you look at what happens in the next turn. You've got 3 squads of tank busters, 3 squads of breaker boys, an entire squad of beast snaggers, and then some other squad that get out that's probably going to have to do an emergency disembarkation to get out further back. And you are looking at the entire Slanesh army, and you are about to kill everything. Tank busters are going to murder all the fiend squads. Breaker boys are going to go in and murder the keeper secrets. You're going to throw squig bombs absolutely everywhere. The game is immediately over. Your opponent killed 65 points worth of trucks times 5. Oh, I don't know what the math other than that is. It's something like 300 something points. And then you're going to kill instantaneously over 1,000 points. It is a disgusting strategy that works really, really well. And it doesn't even require orcs. You can do it with lots of other armies. You can do it with Tau, for example. I can take a devilfish. And I can take a piranha right here. And then I can put a devilfish down. And then I can put a piranha right here. And then I can put a devilfish down. And then what I can do is I can have a triptide hanging out back here. Maybe a piranha fish over here. A piranha over here. Once all the devilfishes die, you're going to have a full breacher squad. You're going to have a full breacher squad. You're going to have a full breacher squad. And since breachers are so small and devilfish are so huge, there's no way something that charges you here will get to pile in into your breachers. And then in the following turn, after all these breachers get out, you're going to have the rest of your army, whether it's like triptide, doesn't matter. You're going to have broadsides that are able to blast, and all of your freaking breachers are going to be sitting right here, and they're going to be able to light up anything that actually shot them. And they're going to, with their what? Like their 3 shots each, re-rolling wound rolls if you're on objectives, hitting on 2s thanks to the marker lights, re-rolling if you're using stealth suits. It's just absolutely brutal. It works for any of these style armies. You can do the exact same thing with Votann. You're just going to use Sagittars and your Hecaton land fortresses, but the Flotilla is a very serious strategy, and it smashes people. Guys, if I was positioned to have like 1 inch space wrong on this demonstration, just accept the fact that, okay, I positioned it slightly wrong. Don't get lost in that. Learn what I'm teaching here. Learn the absolute strategy of how the Flotilla actually works. You will have to measure the bases of your models specifically to learn how to set it up for yourself. Some models will require like an extra inch here or there, and so you're going to have to figure out how to position that for yourself. And of course, these fiends can go ahead and pile in touch and get hit for free, which is totally fine because then you just slap the shit out of them, and in your turn, you fall back. Then you throw squig bombs, and then you shoot the crap out of them. Or in the case if they were charging the Tau, there's no way they're tagging anything because the devilfish are too big to be able to get the pile-in or consolidation through. So guys, the Flotilla strategy is pretty disgusting. It works for shooting armies, it works for melee armies, but it works specifically against melee pressure armies, the armies that cannot deal with the transports earlier on in the turn. It's disgusting. It's awesome. You're going to have to mess around with it with whatever your army is just to get the spacing right. Like, if you're worried about Daemonettes getting through, you might actually have to have these things slightly closer, just because of Daemonette spaces are a little bit smaller. If you're worried about, say, Fiends getting through, you can afford to have a little bit more space because you're not so worried about the Fiend getting through because its base is so big. And you see how to make sure that you do leave room for your units. As I kind of showed over here, it's like, oh, okay, cool. I had them slightly too close for the demonstration. So just fix that in your game, set it up. You're going to have to practice it a little bit, but once you practice it, man, woo, Nelly, are you going to piss off some melee pressure list armies. So with that, guys, I'm going to end it. This was a pretty quick, short and sweet video where I'm really excited to bring you these really sick strategies that work really damn well. Hope you all have a great day and hope you learned a lot. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below. Until next time, happy prepping. Bye-bye.